I promised you guitar overdubs, and guitar overdubs you shall have. Now, while you cannot record overdub, for example, on an audio track, what I'm going to teach you now is 10 times better than that. So what we have here are two guitar solos that we've chopped up, and we've taken the best parts of take 5 and the best parts of take 4 and merged them together by playing them over a rhythm track. Now, what I'm going to show you is how to overdub guitars in order to have a bigger sound. And I know what you're thinking, you can't overdub an audio track. First of all, these are not audio tracks, these are drum tracks. And because they're drum tracks, we can do something with them that you can't do with an audio track. What we're going to do is we're going to go into Program Edit, whatever your hotkey or whatever is for your particular MPC. And you'll notice here what we have are the exact same settings for drums. Now, if you were to try this right now without changing anything, you hit the overdub button and play start. You notice when you hit the overdub button, it doesn't record over the drum track. In this particular case, the solo. It just starts that exact same audio, the sample I'm talking about. It just starts that exact same sample from the beginning. And you don't get one guitar layered over another guitar. You just get it restarted. I'll play it back. And that's not what we want. That is not an overdub. But if you go into Program Edit, you'll notice that there is one shot, there is mono, and above mono we have something that says poly, which is short for polyphony, and the polyphony right now is set for mono or one sound. And it's the same thing over here. Polyphony, mono. What we're going to do is go over to the global setting first, change that from mono to, let's say, 6. And then we're going to come over here and do the exact same thing here, change it from mono to 6. And you'll notice this is pad 1. We're going to do the same thing for pad 3. Since with this particular track, we aren't going to be using pad 2. So we're going to go do the same thing, switch the polyphony from mono to 6. Then we're going to go back to our main menu, switch to the other solo. Here, this is the one where we're only using the second slice. So we go into Program Edit. There you see the polyphony is set to mono globally. We're going to switch that to 6. And over here, it's currently at pad 3. We want pad 2, which is the little snippet of that solo that we were using before. Here you see that the polyphony is still set for mono, and we are going to switch that to 6. And back to the main menu. So now, pads 1 and 3 of the solo take 5 are set to a polyphony of 6. And pad 2 of the solo take 4 is set for a polyphony of 6. So now, when we go in and hit overdub and play start to try and overdub the track, there you had it. You have 2 tracks of the exact same guitar take playing over each other. Play it again one more time so you can hear it. And there it is. One track overdubbed on another. And you can do it again if you want. Now you'll notice when we get to the next part of the solo, it's coming up now. Right there, you're still hearing just the single notes because we haven't done the overdubbing on take 4 yet, which we're going to do right now. Again, that's going to be pad 2, overdub, play start. All right, now we'll play that back and you can hear that the second part of the solo has an overdub as well. That leaves us with just the last part of the solo. So now we're on take 5 and we're going to just overdub, let the first 2 parts play and hit pad 3 to overdub the last part of the solo. And that's all there is to it. We now have a bigger sound. And don't worry about the fact that the solo might sound a little bit off, because you can take this to some extremely crazy places, because you can just we added a 6-note polyphony, so you can have up to 6 of these layers onto that very same track, so that means you could have 6 parts, and that's per pad. On a per pad basis, you could have 6 notes on pad 1, you could have 6 layers on pad 3, then you can go over to take 4, and you could have 6 notes on top of each other in pad 2, and they'll just be layered, and they will all sound individually, and the more you layer it, the bigger the sound you will have, and that's exactly what you would expect from guitar overdubs. And that's it. Without ever having to pick up the guitar again, or if you were just producing this track and not playing on it, without having to call the guitarist back in to record a take 6 or a take 7, 8, 9, and 10, you can take what's already been recorded and sort of like play around with the layering and the location and the timing of the tracks to get a bigger and bigger sound. Now, what are the practical applications of this? Well, I intentionally played these pads a little bit loose and a little bit off so that you could actually hear the overdubbing. But if I wanted to, I could nail each pad on exactly the first beat so that they would be perfectly in sync. So if you have 2 different tracks on top of each other perfectly in sync, what's the point of that? Here's where you have to step out of the mentality of a musician and step into the mentality of a producer. And it took me the longest time to learn this. You have to sort of imagine that it's not you by yourself in your home studio or in your bedroom or in your basement or wherever you make your music. You have to imagine that there's a band out there somewhere, and the band's gone and they've entrusted their album with you. And what you want to do is take everything that they've given you and make something magical with it. So maybe there are 5 or 10 takes of guitar or bass or drums that were just going to be on the cutting room floor. You have to remember, this is no longer an audio track. This is no longer play, stop, record. You can build all sorts of sound collages. And this is what a lot of producers do. Sometimes for the little sound snippets that come in between the songs, like the birds tweeting on Elliott Smith's From the Basement on the Hill, or like the very beginning of Wilco's album, Being There, where they have a big audio collage right there in the beginning. You can take the audio, whatever you didn't use in the session, whatever you did use, you could take that audio and play around with it on the pads just like you would any other sample. The only difference is you're taking real instruments and you're changing them from what they were into something different, something more creative, and in this particular case, something bigger.